Welcome, everybody, to another chapter of Spanish Loops. Hola, Fran. How are you doing?
Hola, Jorge. Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Not bad. Thank you so much. Let's listen to our intro symphony, and we'll be back very, very soon.
So, welcome everybody to this new episode of Spanish Loops. Here we are, one more week, willing to go through one of big steps in history. Jorge, what are we going to be talking today?
Well, Francisco, we're going to touch a topic today that for everybody, and I mean everybody, nowadays in the 21st century, I think at every home all around the world, there is one thing that was extremely, extremely valuable many, many years ago. We're going to talk about spices.
There we go. Today, it's in all of our pantries, and we take it for granted. It's like, okay, you go to the supermarket, you
Yep.
buy cinnamon or ginger or anything, and
Our
that's it.
peppers or anything. Yeah. And you just get them in little jars, in baskets by the weight, however you like it. But nowadays, that is a very common thing. But it was a time in history that it wasn't not common at all, and it was extremely valuable, isn't it, Francisco?
It was. It was very, very, very valuable. So why don't we go back to history? Let's
Oh,
go
yes,
back.
please. I'd love to.
Let's go back to in time, and focus the center. Here we are in the Mediterranean. So let's think a little bit about the Mediterranean.
Okay, when you say the Mediterranean, you're talking about South Europe and North Africa and the Middle East?
There we go. That's what the Mediterranean bathes. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Okay, good.
But you're right. A lot of people, including me, when we think about the Mediterranean, we only think about the Mediterranean European coast.
That's right. That's why I wanted to specify
There we go. We forget the Middle East
the
and we
entire
forget.
shores of the Mediterranean. Good.
So, in all of these cultures all around here in the Mediterranean, if we go to Egypt, we're going to find in the pyramids to do the mummies and all that, they use cinnamon and they have black pepper. I mean, to go to death, to go, the energy and goes into the whole thing, they carry with themselves cinnamon and pepper. So from the Egyptians on, we do have spices. Okay.
It means that they grew those spices in Egypt.
No. There's a trading. Oh, they
Oh,
did
right.
some of that.
Okay,
No,
I'm
there's a
sorry.
trading.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
But
Good.
I mean, if in fact, if we go a little bit earlier, if we go to Mesopotamia, okay, between the
Hmm.
Tigris and the Euphrates, okay, it's not the Mediterranean, but right there,
Yeah.
in Mesopotamia, they already use spices for cooking. But
Hmm.
the Egyptians are the ones that put it on a higher level. Okay, it's like much better to reach a higher status after death. They would carry with themselves cinnamon, black pepper, other spices. It
Well,
would go.
I guess, Francisco, that if they were in Egyptian tombs, that they were supposed to be just for celebrities, not celebrities, I'm sorry, not the word, important
Yeah,
people.
for the Rihannas of the time.
You fool.
Or, well, but yes, it was for the higher class.
So that means that they were very expensive then.
They were expensive. We don't know, but we assume if they are related with the pharaohs, and we the related with death, and you find them in the pyramids along with gold and emeralds and all that. We assume that they were valuable back then.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
So if we keep on going with the history of the Mediterranean, then we have the Greeks. The Greeks, they thought that black pepper was sent by the gods, which is like, okay,
Really?
this is, imagine how important this is. Okay, this is like, okay, even a step higher. It's like, okay, it's directly sent by the gods to the Mediterranean. Okay, it's just like, okay, fine with it. In Rome, the black pepper was like currency. It was money. If a soldier was paid sometimes with black pepper. Okay.
Hmm.
It was a moment with mustard. They used very, very a lot of mustard in the Roman Empire.
Is
So
that right?
yeah, even for the wine, they mix it with pepper.
Well, yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah,
Well,
but
but For example, when we drink in winter and Christmas the blue wine,
Yeah,
it is wine with spices.
that's true. That's true.
So it's
Yeah.
not something that uncommon that we do it today. It is a,
With,
yeah.
go ahead. In what?
So, but we do it today, but it seems to be very old, but it's not.
But what thing that can come to your mind very quickly that we drink it on today?
Here in
Something.
Spain,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you
Come
got
on.
me.
And
Oh,
I'm giving you another clue. Italy.
Italy. What do Italians drink? Limoncello, but limoncello has no spices. God.
Vermouth.
Oh, vermouth.
Vermouth.
That's right.
It's a
That's right.
fortified wine. Yeah,
It's
with
fortified wine, and
spices.
there we go, and it has all these spices. So
That's right.
in Rome, we do have, and we still do it. Okay, but this is in Europe. If we go to America, for example, we know that the Aztecs, the Mayas, the Incas, in Chile, they all used spices.
About different spices, aren't they?
Well, peppers especially.
Yeah, but
Okay, they
I
have all
think
of these peppers.
the other pepper we're talked up to now, we're talking about the black peppercorns, the red peppercorns, the white peppercorns,
There we
etc.
go.
But these are,
Now we're talking the red peppers, the hot
yeah,
chili
the
peppers. Okay, there we go.
jalapenos, the habaneros, all that kind of thing,
There we
exactly.
go.
And well, that was if I can recall well, that wasn't Christopher Columbus, sponsored by the Catholic Monarchs, that he wanted to first prove that the world was a sphere, and second that he wanted like a kind of a shortcut reaching far east, navigating west, as we mentioned in other podcasts, isn't it?
Okay, so yes, you are so right.
And especially, isn't it before, sorry, after, especially that the Portuguese, that they were the one that circumnavigated the African continent, getting as far as Japan, Macau, India,
There we go.
and all those places. They wanted that. I mean, the Spanish crown, they wanted that because Portugal was the a very powerful kingdom at the time.
So you got it. I mean, the thing is that we have talked about Europe and America, but if we go to Asia,
Yeah.
this is the place, especially India. It's the
Uh-huh.
place where most of the spices were coming into Europe. They
Uh-huh.
were coming through the Silk Route. Okay, we're talking Marco Polo,
Marco.
Polo, grow up. Well done, grow up. Anyway, the thing is that everything was coming from India. And thinking about India, we do have two big empires
Yeah.
before the early Middle Ages,
Yes.
which is, as you said, the Kingdom of Portugal. In fact, they settled, I don't want to say an embassy or a territory in Goa.
Goa, yeah.
Okay, so
It was Portuguese territory at the time.
it was Portuguese territory. And from there, they would export, as you said, all around Africa, all the way to Portugal, and then deliver it to all Europe. So the
Mm-hmm.
trading of spices with Portugal was very, very important. The other big power or empire, it was the Venetian Empire.
Okay, so when you said that Portugal was importing them circumnavigating Africa, we're talking about what time and year in history? Maybe 13th century,
1300s,
1300s. Good.
13th century, 1200, 1300s.
Okay.
This is the moment when also we have two routes to come to Europe,
Mm-hmm.
circumnavigating Africa or through land on the Silk Route.
Okay.
The circumnavigating Africa, it was controlled by Portugal. The Silk Route was controlled by the Venetian Empire.
Okay. Nice.
So all of these spices were coming into Europe. And here we have all of these two empires having everything. Spain, at this moment, is a strong empire. Okay, now we're going to the 1400s. We're coming
Okay.
to modern
I
times.
was starting to wonder, okay, why are we talking about all this that is more related to world history instead of Spain because we are Spanish loops, and now you're making, some familiar sounds. Spain.
Because we are Spanish loops and we need to talk about this, the
That's
importance of
right.
spices in Spain.
Yeah. So please, I just want to know what Spain's got to do with all that.
So the thing is that here we are, Spain, the Venetian Empire is having a lot of problems because
Yeah.
they have the Ottoman Empire growing, meaning Turkey. So all of this commerce coming through the Silk Road, they come through Turkey
Mhm.
and they reach to Venice. Okay, so that was a big problem for the Venetian Empire. Meanwhile, the Portuguese are like, bingo, the Venetians are having problems. We can control all Asia.
Well, makes sense that they thought that
It
way.
makes sense. So
Yeah.
that's when Christophorus Columbus goes to talk to the Kingdom of Portugal and says, hey, I think I can find a shorter route to India. And the Portuguese say, thanks,
But
but
no.
no thanks. It's like, you may go. The thing is that is when he comes to Spain and he finds Isabella and Ferdinand. At this moment, I always say that the between Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon, she is the most powerful one of the two of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
she's
Yeah.
much more powerful. The kingdom is 3 times larger, her kingdom, than his kingdom.
His
Okay,
kingdom.
so
Let me add here, Francisco, that we have a series of 3 chapters, I believe it is, about the discovery of America, don't we?
yes, we do.
Yeah.
Somewhere
This,
in the line of
yeah,
podcasts we've done.
in the lifeline of the Spanish loops, just go backwards and you'll find I mean, that series of chapters which are very, very interesting. And this is just a little bit of extra info for those new subscribers. If you haven't had time now, we have
Yeah.
those things. So please, Francisco, I'm sorry, I just wanted to
No,
add that.
thank you. But the thing is that now we have Isabella and Ferdinand, they're married, and gastronomy in this moment in Spain, it's very good because we have had all of these different cultures crossing Spain. Okay. For our listeners, you have to understand that here we have had the Jewish population coming
Hmm.
from the first diaspora from Egypt. They came all the way from here to here to Spain and they settled and they brought all the know how. Then in the 7-11, when the Muslims came in, they brought all that gastronomy. So we have all of this. So imagine being the chef of Isabella, the Catholic Queen. I mean, this guy needs to mix all of these different cultures in his gastronomy.
Who are you talking about?
Well,
You said this guy?
well, we know who was the guy, the chef for Isabella, the Catholic Queen.
Uh-huh.
And you know him very well because he's from your hometown. Well, not from your hometown, but they got together in your hometown. We're
Yeah.
talking about somebody like Toribio de la Vega.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
right. Hmm.
So, Jorge, Toribio de la Vega, where do they meet? I mean, where does Isabella, the Catholic Queen, and Toribio get together?
Well, let me remind here, and please, Francisco, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? Um, the very first time that Christopher Columbus met the Catholic monarchs, it is recorded to be in Cordoba, in the
Mhm.
what it was the royal palace at the time, it's still standing up. And then it was in 1485, I think I said, or if I didn't, here you are, 1485. Okay, so they thought it was going to be shorter, the siege and conquering of the last Arabic bastion in the Iberian Peninsula. But no, it took like 8 years. So
Until we all know
it,
it's 1492.
that's right,
Okay.
1492. Everybody knows that number, that year, that is a before and after, especially in our history. Um, as far as I am, or my knowledge gets to, Toribio de la Vega was around in Malaga, but only because I don't know if it was a coincidence, it was in purpose or whatever, but the reason that Malaga plays an important role at the time is because Malaga was the only big port entrance to import goods from north of Africa to supply the Kingdom of Granada.
There we go.
Uh-huh. And what do you do when you are sieging a place? When you siege a place and you want to conquer, you close the borders. So
Mhm.
the northern borders and the eastern borders in land in the Iberian Peninsula, they were closed. So the only way they could import things from wherever was from north of Africa. Okay, and that was before the continent, what today is called America, was uh, let's say, declared a new continent, but it was there before Christopher Columbus arrived, by all means. It was the only place, and Toribio happened to be there. Malaga was like a kind of a trading place, a constant movement of merchandising going in and out from the Kingdom of Granada and north of Africa, backwards and forwards. Is that right?
There we go. That's at that moment, at the mid 1400s, Malaga, your hometown, it was the place, the harbor, where
Mm-hmm.
all the goods from Africa they were coming to supply the
Mm-hmm.
Muslim Empire, the remaining, the tiny little Muslim Empire that was left in Spain. As you said, if you want to siege a city or empire,
Mm-hmm.
had the supplies. So what did they do? They took over Malaga. Okay? That's where they meet. They meet there, Isabella and Toribio. By the way, he is going to become the chef for her, not for him, not for Ferdinand.
Oh, I
As
didn't
we,
know that.
well, as we said, he his kingdom is smaller than hers, so she can rule much more. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
she you rule more, but you also have to pay more. So
Okay.
what she does is she's the one who pays Toribio. Okay, you are going to be the chef of the court because I like you and I want you to work for us and
Mm-hmm.
make sure because Isabel and Ferdinand on daily basis they would not eat together. Okay, they would only eat together whenever there was a politician or something
Well,
formal.
and also it is said that he was the warrior. He wanted to be in the front line most of the time, and she was the diplomat, the
Yeah.
one that talked to whoever.
So imagine this moment in history. You need somebody who you have to trust 100,000% not to poison you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how important being the head cuisine maker or the chef of the royal family was back then. Okay,
Wow.
so he was very, very powerful. And he was so strong that once the thing is that obviously we don't know much about Toribio de la Vega. We don't even know where he was born. We know that they met in Malaga. And we assume he was from Malaga because at the end of his life, when his son, who also worked for the Catholic Monarchs, sorry, inherit his dad's possession, he inherit part of what today is Malaga
Oh, wow. I didn't
because
know
he
that.
sold them afterwards.
Ah.
Right? The son sold them. So we know that the son got it
Yeah.
from the father. Right? So he was very, very loved by the Isabella, the Catholic monk. So
Okay.
this is the moment. I I would say that Toribio de la Vega cooked for Christopher Columbus.
Wow.
It only makes
That's
sense.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have evidence, but kind of
Yeah,
makes sense.
when you think about it, and she had several meetings with Christopher Columbus before he was sponsored to go to the New World or to cross the ocean blue, however you want to call it. Obviously, if they met several times, it's very, very obvious that they probably had some meal together. Yeah.
So suddenly, Christopher Columbus goes to America and returns. And
Hmm.
he's like, well, first of all, he doesn't know that he has discovered America.
Well, he
The,
didn't discover America.
the thing is that the trading suddenly shifts because all at this moment spices are so important in Europe.
Uh-huh.
Everything is either spices or silk. Those were the two most important things that people would trade with. Okay, so spices, especially in such a small bag, has a lot of value. So you can transport it easily. It was perfect, and suddenly all of these new goods, all of these goodies, all of these strange things coming from America arrive to Europe, but to be more precise, they arrive to Spain.
Mhm.
Suddenly we have all of this wacko food, potatoes. What the hell are those? Corn. What is corn? Hey, what about tomatoes? We didn't have tomatoes.
Tomato, potato.
Tomato, potato. We didn't have them over here. So suddenly all of these things comes here, and especially spices,
Uh-huh.
all the peppers, the red hot peppers, the chili peppers, the jalapeno peppers, all of those come over here. The thing is that when they arrive here, first of all, you have to think that with our 21st century brain, it's not shocking. But back then it was very shocking. Like people would eat a red pepper. I mean, something shiny, red. It has a label around it, poisonous. It's gonna kill you. We know that red food kills you. I mean, you don't eat a wild red mushroom. Why? Because it's poisonous. So people were like, what do you do with it? It's like, no, we don't. Yes, we do. We didn't know what to do with it. In fact, for some time, well, for a long time, the hot peppers, the hot peppers, they were used for medicinal things, especially for the fever, to lower the fever.
Oh,
Why?
how?
Well, picture this. You have fever,
Yeah.
you eat a hot pepper. What are you going to do? You're going to start sweating
Yeah.
and sweating. And when you sweat, you get virus out of yourself. So it was used as medicinal.
Oh.
Before we did that with ginger, but suddenly you have something that is much hotter than ginger.
Mm-hmm.
So really, but you have to think that coming from India, in India they had Ayurveda saying that you eat and
Yeah.
food can heal you.
Yeah.
Hey, we have the same. So
Oh, never thought about
remember,
that point of view.
so all of these things are so mixed in all of these cultures, and especially us in Spain, this relationship that Portugal has with India, we don't have it that, let's say, directly, but we do. In one of our chapters, we have talked about the gypsy community in Spain.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
Please, once again, remember that the gypsies that came to Spain, they're not Romas, okay? They are gypsies.
Yeah.
And the gypsies and the Romas, they do come from India.
Mm-hmm.
When they came here, the gypsies, they brought the know-how from India. So all of this
Sure.
Ayurveda, all of this healing with nature, it was healing with food. It came thanks to the gypsies to Spain as well.
Wow.
So really, food and spices in Spain is such a treat because we have all the cultures. I mean, the Indian culture coming here through the gypsies, the Jewish influence, the Muslim influence, the American influence, everything collides in Spain.
Uh-huh.
And that's why we are one of the top gastronomical destinations in the world because we are used to mix everything. But something that a lot of people don't understand is that we speak Spanish, we get very well along with Central and South America,
Yeah.
but we are wimps when we talk about hot food, spicy food.
That's true.
I mean, we have no idea how people from Mexico, from Chile, from Peru, they eat so hot food.
Yeah, that's
Here in Spain, we don't.
yeah. I experienced that in California, very South California, where there is a lot of Mexican influence. And one friend of mine took me for breakfast a burrito with some jalapenos in it, and the only thing I remember is that I just wanted to die.
Yeah. I mean, we're not used to it. We don't know how to eat hot stuff. I was like, oh, don't you
Uh,
have chili? It's like, no, we don't. So, but for example, chilies,
we do, but
we
we're not.
do, but as a
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
But for example, if we go to Italy, to southern Italy, to Sicily, to Napoli, all of these, they eat peperoncino, which is this little very spicy peppers.
Yeah,
How come they have them? Sicily was Spanish.
true.
Ta-da!
There you
So,
go.
I
Yeah.
mean, it seems like it's like, but it makes sense. It makes sense that all along the Mediterranean, when the big empire, blah, blah, well, they got some of our good food. Right? So,
Uh-huh.
really, spices, they are huge in Spain. And we find very high dishes that we eat with cinnamon. I mean, big pork hands, many times we put cinnamon into it.
What did you
Uh,
say?
big hands.
Pig hands? The
Yeah,
hooves?
I don't know. Yeah, the hooves.
You like them? You like those?
Oh,
Oh,
love
no.
them.
Thank you.
Oh, you need to come to Pamplona. My mother-in-law makes the best pork
I've
feet.
gone to Pamplona. I've been to your home, but I will never, ever
Oh,
eat
oh, oh.
those. I'm sorry. No, no way,
Wimp. Yes, a little wimp here.
Jose. No.
Oh God, I love it. But we put cinnamon into it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What about our chorizo? Don't we have paprika into it?
Yeah, that's right.
So we do have all of this spice. In paella, don't we put saffron?
Saffron. That's
We
right.
do have a special podcast about saffron as well.
That's right.
And
True. Yeah.
saffron comes
Mm-hmm.
from the Middle
Yeah.
East, but Mediterranean trading, it came into Spain and it
Mm-hmm.
was planted here and it works very well.
That's
So
true.
really, spices have shaped the commercial routes in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
has made us discover America by mistake, but again, please not discover America, discover the commercial route with America. And it has united all of these different cultures in what today is Spain, which I
Yeah.
think it's the tribute we want to make today to the spices is because Spanish gastronomy is one of the most important things that we have. And it is very diverse, the north from the south, from the east to the west to the center.
I
And
agree. Yeah.
it is because we have so many cultures coming in and out. And we have been absorbing all this greatness. I mean, and all the goodness that came from the Americas. We so thankfully have absorbed them. And we have amazing red peppers in Spain. We're amazing tomato growers. And so we're very, very proud of our gastronomy because it's very plural.
Well, we have been, if you scratch a little bit the surface of what today's Spain history, we have been a melting pot all along since the Big Bang. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
like a crossroads. Every civilization we just went through the Iberian Peninsula. So I have never thought about what you mentioned in our gastronomy, the influence of the spices and all those. I mean, obviously, part of our job is to know a little bit of everything, but just in depth as you previously described here, and so detailed in why the diversity of our gastronomy is like that, so rich. I never gave it the thought that you just gave. And I hope that the way that you made it so clear gets to everybody. And because, Francisco, I don't know if you agree with me with that. And please, if there is any Italian, French, or any even Portuguese listeners here, please don't be offended about this. But I just want to say that this is my very personal opinion. I do believe that Spanish gastronomy is very much underrated. What do you
It
think?
is. Well, I think you're right. I mean, Italian, I mean, I love Italian food. You know, my brother-in-law is from Rome, so I do love Italian and Italy and the history and the whole thing.
Which is delicious. I mean,
It's
the Italian
amazing.
gastronomy is just incredible. Yeah,
French cuisine. Well, if we go into Spanish history, we also have a big influence from the French history because in the year 1700, the royal family that came into Spain, they were the Bourbons
the
from
Bourbons.
France.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
they brought that French influence. So we are also have that French influence. The Portuguese, one of the things I envy from the Portuguese big time is their Indian food. They have
Oh
amazing Indian food
yeah, so do
that here in
I.
Spain we don't have. Right? We do have like two, but in Portugal you find amazing Indian food almost everywhere. But yes, Spain is such a kaleidoscope of cultures
Hmm.
and
I
kaleidoscope of
agree.
gastronomy. That is what makes our gastronomy very, very, very good. And let me say one more thing. If people
Yeah.
wants to taste all of this amazing gastronomy, there's a great two ways to do so. One, it is going to Jorge's website, which is probably with Jorge.com, and check his tours. Food is going to be very, 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 very important on his tours.
Yes, it is. And Francisco, let me add something here. Now, you mentioned that if you want to learn a little bit of Spanish gastronomy with me, my YouTube channel is No Land for Lazy Chefs, all together, no spaces. No Land for Lazy Chefs.
There we go.
And there is not many videos in there because I don't literally have much time, but there is some very interesting things and very easy to cook. Okay. So, and also there is another way, and Francisco, now that you mentioned that, let me say this. There is another way that I would say that 90% of Sundays along the year, Francisco and his beautiful, lovely, dearest wife, Ainhoa, they
I love
go
her.
they go live on YouTube and Facebook, just cooking something very simple, very delicious, very nutritious, and seasonal in your website, which is, or how do they,
So either
the
one of
audience connect with you, Francisco?
if people wants to connect to the live broadcast that we do, you can do it on YouTube, which is Traveling Steps uh, on YouTube, or
Yeah.
if not on Facebook, it's my name, Francisco Glaria Baines.
Hmm.
And in both places, we broadcast them live at the same time. So yeah, it's
And I mean, it's so nice, and you're gonna have a laugh just watching them. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of George and Mildred, the Ropers from the. But in a kitchen, not discussing, not arguing at all, but it just that's
well,
how.
once in a while I get in trouble. Okay, it's like don't do that. I'm like, "Oh, wait, I didn't mean to. Don't put your finger.
Uh,
I
Well,
didn't."
Francisco, I hope you didn't mind me saying that because I think that you two are so funny, so uh, compenetrated at the same time. And you can tell that you are the one who's broadcasting, but the leading voice is Ainhoa, your wife.
Yeah, she. I mean, she she loves cooking. We both love cooking. We love welcoming
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
For us, when we started the cooking shows, it was like, okay, nothing, not a big deal. But now it's kind of fun for us.
Hmm.
It's and it has become, I think I said it many times, our family modern recipe cookbook. I mean,
Yeah.
our kids, they're all in college and they check, how do I do this recipe? And I send them the link to the YouTube because it's what we do at home. It's the food we eat at home. So
Yeah, that's
that's
right.
what
And
we
it's
do.
very easy ingredients, very
Yeah,
easy
basic food.
cooking, and within the most 25, 30 minutes, you have a full, nutritious
15, 20
thing
minutes.
there. So, chicos, well, this is everything for this week. Francisco, I hope to see you next week with another very interesting topic. And to everybody out there, if you want to share with us some thing or any suggestion or photos that you have taken in your trips to Spain, our email is spanishloops@gmail.com.
And if you guys want to check our websites are travelingwithjorge.com or travelingsteps.es.
That's
Jorge,
correct.
thank you very much. I shall see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye bye, chicos.
Adios, amigos.
Bye. And as usual, we want to thank all our listeners for being there every week, letting us sharing our talks. Follow us in Spanish Loops in Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite platform.
And in Instagram, you can find us as the Spanish Loops Podcast, no spaces altogether. If you want to find us the quickest way, just Google Spanish Loops Podcast and you will find us. Hasta la vista, amigos.
See you next week.